name is Dr. Christian Seberino, and I work with RestonLogic. RestonLogic is a cloud, blockchain, and data engineering company. I'm going to be addressing the question, what is a blockchain? After this video, if you still have questions, feel free to contact me at my email address shown on this slide. So let me first start out by attempting a simple general definition, and then I will proceed to a more detailed definition. So a blockchain is a database with special properties. Now, what is a database? Loosely speaking, a database is an application that manages information. So in our modern society, we all need to manage information. So it's not surprising that database technology is so foundational to our lives. Furthermore, because database technology is so foundational, anybody that makes even the slightest innovation in database technology has the potential to make a outsized, very large impact on society. All right? And blockchain technology is such a database innovation. All right, let's get a little bit more specific now. How about this? A blockchain is a censorship-resistant, secure, pseudonymous, open, reliable, and trustless database. Now, I'm going to say a few words about each of those adjectives. I've arranged the adjectives to form the acronym C-SPORT, if that helps you to remember this definition. Think about sports that start with a C, like climbing, cycling, canoeing. All right? I'm going to compare blockchain technology to another database that you're likely much more familiar with, the World Wide Web. Now, you may not think of the World Wide Web as a database, but you would probably agree that the World Wide Web, loosely speaking, manages information, right? It organizes it into what are called web servers, and we distribute that information. We access it through browsers, right? Now, this is a significant comparison for another reason, which is that some people have a vision of replacing the World Wide Web with a new and better version based on blockchain technology. So, blockchain technology is censorship resistant. So, if you want to disseminate some information, nobody can prevent you from doing that. Nobody can remove your information from a blockchain system. Now, how is that achieved? So, information is copied throughout a global network of computers. And so you would have to remove that information from this global network, which is next to impossible. Now, on the World Wide Web, you can achieve a measure of censorship resistance this way. Again, with redundancy. You can set up several web servers that are disseminating the same information, and so if somebody attacks one of the web servers, there's other ones to take its place. However, notice that it takes extra effort to do that. So you or someone has to set up those multiple web servers. Now, with blockchain technology, redundancy is the default. You get that automatically without having to expend any extra effort. Blockchain technology is also secure due to cryptography. Now, with the World Wide Web and other previous technologies, they also sometimes use cryptography. You may have noticed that a lot of web addresses start out with, or used to start out with http://, but more and more you see them starting out with https://. So the addition of the S, pertains to a new protocol that uses cryptography to secure web activity. Now, notice that HTTPS, that new protocol, that secure protocol, is optional. The original World Wide Web was not designed to use cryptography. Now, interestingly, blockchain technology from the beginning was developed, its goal was to survive hostile environments. All right. And so it had cryptography baked in from the beginning as the default. You don't have to, again, you don't have to do anything to use that cryptography. It's there for you by default. Now, with cryptography, we can provide lots of different properties and services. So you can remain pseudonymous with blockchain technology on a blockchain network. So what this means is that nobody knows who you are, but you have a pseudonym that people can refer to you by. It's a random string of letters and text, and the reason why you want to have that pseudonym, that alias, is because we need a way to refer to you by, even if we don't know who you are. If, for example, if somebody wants to send you digital money, blockchain tokens, cryptocurrency as it's called. Now, can you achieve pseudonymity with the World Wide Web? So the World Wide Web was not designed to protect your anonymity. With some clever tricks, some hacking, some investigations, we can figure out your IP address, your Internet Protocol address, and from that, with a little more effort, people can get an idea of your geographic location and slowly figure out who you might be. Now, if you are tech savvy, you might be aware of virtual private networks. You might be aware of onion routing, such as using the Tor browser. So there are optional extra technologies that you could use to protect, to hide your identity on the World Wide Web. But again, that's optional. It's not the default. And then blockchain technology is open due to being public and auditable. So all transactions, the history of all activity on blockchains is available for analysis. That's what I mean by being auditable. Also, the technology is typically open source, and so you can analyze the source code. Now, however, the openness that I'm talking about is to a greater degree than even open source, if you're familiar with that, such as the Linux operating system. So with open source technology, you can see the source code of programs to get an idea what they're doing. Now, imagine if in addition to that, you had the ability to inspect all the activity of somebody using open source technology. So for example, let's say that you were suspicious that Amazon was processing a purchase that you made on their website correctly. You could, imagine if you could analyze their server logs. You could analyze their computers to make sure that everything was processed honestly and correctly. Now, they're not going to let you do that. They might, they could, but you don't have that ability by default. Whereas with blockchain technology, you do. Every transaction, you can analyze the details, okay? Which is kind of interesting. Blockchain technology is also provides reliability. So we all want our websites to be available when we need them, right? We want them to scale. We want them to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without any downtime. Now, blockchain technology provides that, again, using redundancy. And you can provide redundancy on the World Wide Web. You could set up multiple web servers, but as I've said many times, that's optional. That's not the default. With blockchain technology, again, you get that redundancy for free. All right, now, every property so far that I've shared with you, it is possible to achieve with previous existing technology, such as the World Wide Web, but it takes extra effort. Nevertheless, you might wonder, is there anything truly novel about blockchain technology? Is there any property that you cannot achieve with any other solution, any other technology? And the answer is yes. And the innovative property that blockchains can provide you is trustlessness. So what do I mean by that? So when you use all other technologies, there is somebody that manages that system. That person or persons have special permissions, right? We call them the systems administrators, the root users, and they are a weak point from the regarding security. So if the administrator, if the root user that was keeping the system operational, if they decided to be malicious, they could do some bad things. Whereas with blockchain technology, there is no root user, there is no system administrator, there is nobody that has special permissions, which is very interesting. So in a sense, the blockchain system is like this autonomous entity that can take care of itself, and people can use its services, and there's no human that you have to rely on, which is very fascinating. And so that is that property of not having to rely on any human having special permissions, that is referred to as the trustless property, because we don't need to trust a human. And I mentioned on that slide that that is achieved with what's called consensus systems. And so, for example, proof of work, proof of stake, these are examples of consensus systems. You could look into more details. You can research those consensus systems to find out a little bit more about how that fascinating, innovative property is achieved. All right, so let me now end by trying to dispel a common source of confusion. So there are many applications that you can build with blockchain technology. Blockchains are the infrastructure for several applications, just like the World Wide Web is the infrastructure for countless web applications. The reason why I mention this is a lot of people, their first exposure to this technology is through Bitcoin. And so they have the idea that blockchains are the same thing as Bitcoin, that the only thing you could do with blockchains is some type of money application. All right, but that's not the case. Blockchains are like the freeway. The freeway is the infrastructure for cars, and Bitcoin and other blockchain applications are the cars that run on freeways. All right, so you can do a lot more than just Bitcoin with blockchain technology is what I'm trying to say. And so in closing, hopefully now you know that blockchains are databases that are censorship resistant, secure, pseudonymous, open, reliable, and trustless. They are the infrastructure for countless applications, including but not limited to Bitcoin. I hope you found this video instructive. Once again, my name is Dr. Christian Seberino, and if you have any further questions, you could contact me at the given email.